Welcome back to another episode of Time Out with the Sports Doctor podcast, where life, sports, and medicine intersects. We are glad that you are part of this growing community where we strive to help you strengthen your mindset, help you grow your assets, and help you achieve whatever level of success that you want for your life. Go to our website at Dr.Derrick, thesportsdoctor.com, where you can find all the latest content, and you can also follow us on our social media channels. Now, let's get into this episode. Welcome back to another episode of Time Out with the Sports Doctor podcast. I'm glad to have you back for another week. Very exciting week, to say the least, coming off the Super Bowl. If you don't watch the game, you probably watch the halftime show or the commercials. So it's amazing how large the Super Bowl is. And for the first time, I had the opportunity to experience it live. And we're going to talk about that more in this episode. But I first want to start off by thanking everyone who reached out to me about my tribute to Big Mama. Number one, I did it for myself, as a coping mechanism, but I also did it, number one, to capture the history, but also to share the history of the Burgess family. As I mentioned, we've lost the patriarch and the matriarch over the last 2 years. So it's a lot for the family. However, being able to have that history, actually having the opportunity to interview both of my grandparents was very important. And I wanted to share it with you. Anytime you share something that personal, you never know how it's going to be taken, and I was a little sensitive about it, but from what I've seen and what I've heard, many people have enjoyed hearing that history, hearing about my family, hearing about my, ancestors and what they had to go through to get to where we are now. So I appreciate you reaching out to me, sharing. I appreciate your condolences. But thank you for just being a part of this family and being a part of this community where we're here to help you strengthen your mindset, help you grow your assets, and help you achieve whatever level of success in your life that you want to achieve. So back to the Super Bowl. As I mentioned, this was the first time that I've been able to go to the Super Bowl. So I've been to a lot of football games, as you know, both on the sideline and in the stadiums, but this was my first time being live at the Super Bowl. And I must say that it was more than I imagined it to be. Number one, I want to thank my wife for making this possible because, many times there are things that you want to do, but you are not going to do because you're like, man, that costs a lot. Am I really deserving of something that big? But this time, I would say our anniversary is in May. So last year in May, she said, your gift is going to be a trip to the Super Bowl. And I was like, are you sure? Because number one, I knew it was very expensive. I didn't know exactly how much it cost, but I knew it was very expensive. And she was like, you deserve it. Let's do it. I know that you love sports. We've been talking about our bucket list items. She's got some, I have some, and definitely the Super Bowl was one of my bucket list items. So she wanted to make it happen for me. So thank you to her because I wouldn't have done it for myself. I would have thought about 100 other ways to spend that money, but we enjoyed it and it was definitely worth it. I want to share with you some of the takeaways that I got from that Super Bowl, not just the game, but the Super Bowl experience. And that's literally what it is, the Super Bowl experience. So going into the Super Bowl, I thought it was a game. I know that it's the most watched football game of the year. Everyone in the country is going to tune in. People from around the world are going to tune in. Some for entertainment purposes, some because they love football, some because their favorite team is playing in the game. Well, we definitely didn't have our favorite team in the game. Baltimore Ravens got put out, but the decision was already made to go to the Super Bowl. But when I went to the Super Bowl, I realized that the Super Bowl is almost like whatever your organization may be, whether you're an orthopedic surgeon, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're an athlete, whatever the big conference is for your organization, that's what I felt like the Super Bowl really is. For the NFL and the NFLPA, it's the gathering of all the members in the central location each year where they play the game not only, but also have meetings, have educational sessions. I really did not understand how big the Super Bowl was. And I definitely didn't understand from a medical standpoint how many opportunities really exist to be able to hold panels and do educational seminars. I was introduced to some very influential people from Harvard University that were there strictly for education, as part of initiatives for NFL players and their family, for brain health, mental health, things of that nature. So I left saying, okay, this year I'm a spectator. This year I'm a fan. But my next Super Bowl experience, and my wife and I, we joked about it. She said, I brought you to this one, but the next one, I said, I'm going to work it. So the next time I'm going to the Super Bowl, I will be as a speaker or as a panelist. So you can mark my word. I said it here first. And this is how when I walked away, I was like, how many other things out there are opportunities for you that you're not even aware of? Final Four, NCAA tournaments, the football championships, all these bowl games. There's so many things, and probably the same thing for you, that you have not even thought of as being an opportunity for you to share your talents or share your abilities that exist. So I want to share with you some of my takeaways from the Super Bowl. Number one, it was a dominant performance by the Eagles. I think most people went into the Super Bowl thinking, all right, we're about to witness history with a three-peat by Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes, and it was nothing more than the complete opposite. It was complete domination by the Eagles. I mean, we literally sat there watching the game, and the Eagles defense had Patrick Mahomes on the run for the whole first half. I can't even imagine. We're not going to talk about stats, but I know they were abysmal. And it was interesting because the person sitting right next to me was there with his girlfriend or fiance, and they had a sign that said, all you need is love and a three-peat. And needless to say, the sign after the first quarter was never lifted. They never got on TV. I was hoping they were going to get on TV because I was sitting right beside them, but it never happened. And also, one takeaway is how big the event is from an international standpoint. Literally, we walk into our seats, and the people sitting to the left of us, the couple to the left of us, were from the UK. And then 10 minutes later, 5 young ladies walk in right in front of us, and I think 3 of them were from the UK. We were like, wow, what in the world? And, they were like, he said, I don't care who wins. I'm just here to be a spectator. I'm here to see the show. I'm here to see what, the largest sporting event in America is. And he said, in England, he said he found it interesting that as he walked through the city, he would see fans mingling with each other and, staying in the same hotel and things. He said in England, it wouldn't be the same. If 2 of the main sporting teams were playing, they would be on separate sides of the city. They would have no interaction. But he said it's pretty cool the way that you guys all can come together at a sporting event, and whether you like the team or not, you're able to interact with each other. But yeah, so you had 5 people just right there in that small cluster from another part of the world coming to see NFL football and the Super Bowl, not just for the game, but for the experience. Also, this was the first time, talking about history being made, that a standing president was actually attending a Super Bowl. I thought that was very strange. I really did not know that this was the first time a president had attended the Super Bowl. As healthcare providers, we spend a large portion of our lives focused on our training as well as taking care of other individuals. But I'm calling a timeout because life can change in an instant. We know it's difficult to fathom that a sudden illness, injury, or death could put you and your family in a devastating financial situation. But that's where Dr. Stephanie Pearson and her unique team of advisors at Pearson Ravitz come into play. They focus on empowering physicians like yourself to protect your most valuable asset, your income, and life's most important people, your family. So go to PearsonRavitz.com to make sure that you are protected today. And sticking with Black history, what everyone's talking about before the game and after the game is the halftime performance. We're not going to break it down here, but all you got to do is open your phone and you're going to have someone breaking down every element of Kendrick Lamar's halftime performance. And from a historical standpoint, this was the most viewed halftime performance. Over 137 million people watched it in real time. Being there live, I really did not appreciate how much symbolism was in the show, or really all the different themes from the show. You can see it from like you're live at a concert, but you don't see exactly what they want you to see on TV. I said it's almost like you're on a movie set and you're able to see the whole movie set at one time from an aerial view, but on TV you only see about 6 to 8, 10 feet at a time. So definitely a different experience, and being able to see it live and now going back seeing a replay, you're like, wow, okay, that's what was going on at this point. I was able to capture the moment, able to be there in the moment, able to still feel the energy over 65,000 people at one time witnessing the show live. So definitely wouldn't take it back, but glad to be there and glad to witness that historical moment. But yeah, check out some of the commentary about all the symbolism with Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam, having the all black cast dressed in red, white, and blue, like the flag, things of that nature. Having Samuel L. Jackson, having Serena Williams as part of the show. Also, SZA was part of the show. So it was a star-studded event from start to finish. Also, with my package, we were able to go to a pregame area. Able to see, I think it was Donovan McNabb was present, Drew Brees was present. For me, Andrew Whitworth was there. I actually got to take a picture with him. Why was that important to me and why was that special to me? Where I trained at Cincinnati Sports Medicine in 2012 was the time during the part of the era that he played for the Bengals. And actually working with Dr. Mark Galloway, got to meet Andrew Whitworth then. So it was special when I saw him to be able to connect for those few moments almost 13 years later. But having a player that I was actually involved with the team while he was on it was pretty cool. So just talking about halftime, the halftime show, which we said everybody's talking about still, but just some statistics about the halftime show. As I mentioned, it was the most watched halftime show with over 137 million, which topped last year's show from Usher, which had 123 million, and then the year before 121 million. But one thing that I thought was really interesting and just showed how legendary Michael Jackson was in his time. In 1993, Michael Jackson's halftime show had over 133 million people. So think about that in relation to how many people are watching and streaming now. Michael Jackson had 133 million over 30 years ago, which blows my mind. And as I just saw a clip, and you can go back and check this out. I saw a clip from when he performed. The producer was saying that Michael Jackson told him, I'm going to start the show when I'm ready. We're not going to go on stage and just immediately start. And Michael Jackson literally stood on stage, silent, in position for 2 minutes before he started the show. And the producer was saying how it drove him crazy. But Michael told him, when I'm ready to start the show, I'll reach up and remove my glasses. And that's exactly what he did. He stood there, people yelled, screamed for almost 2 whole minutes before he actually started the show. So go back and check that out. Thought that was pretty cool. That was also a drastic change. So now since 2019, Apple and Beats have taken over the Super Bowl performance. Jay-Z is part of that initiative, bringing in this talent, and the viewership is through the roof. So that's where we are now, compared to in the 1980s when halftime used to be just a band playing, like a marching band, like a normal college or high school game. So it's all about the entertainment. But it was a great experience, something that I'll never forget for sure. So I just want to share some of those takeaways that I received from this weekend, just with new opportunities, being inspired about another level of excellence that the Super Bowl stands for. And like I said, I'll be a part of it soon. So stay tuned. I hope you have a great week. I just wanted to come on and share some of these takeaways because it was really special. You can see I have the Mardi Gras beads and the Eagles colors representing for New Orleans. New Orleans did a great job with hosting the Super Bowl, which we knew that they would do, especially bouncing back from the recent tragedy. This was something that the city needed for sure. So I hope you have a great week. Stay tuned for more episodes and give us feedback. What do you want to hear more about? I'm always open to hearing from you as the audience, because I'm here to help give you information that's going to be meaningful in your life. Have a blessed week. Thank you for continuing to support this podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, then please leave a 5-star review. And if you haven't done so, subscribe so you continue to get the updated episodes. Until later, peace.
Hey, time out with the sports doctor. Keep our head right in the game. We ain't never stopping. You are now tuned in. Trust, you don't want to